Topic tonight is Ois Hey. As you know, Avrohom Avinu and Sarah got added a Ois to their names. The question is, what's the yichus of Ois Hey? Why Ois Hey specifically? So, since you're all Mekubalim, so you all know that Ois Hey is a major component of Shem Havaya. It's a double. It's Yud K Vav K, right? One is merumaz on Bina, and one is merumaz on Malchus. So, question is, of course, why did Rebbeinu Shloim add Dafka Ois Hey to the Shem Avrohom and to Shem Sarah? Some Mefarshim talk about it. Rashi says that Avrohom was missing 5 Eivarim, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a bris. And by adding the Ois Hey, so it gave him Ramach Eivarim. It in itself is very schwer to say that he didn't have, he didn't have eyes, he didn't have ears before this. So you could say that he didn't have a bris because he didn't have the koyach to be laid. So that, he didn't have any children, so that, But the eyes and the ears is very schwer. So, so it really all comes down to a big picture. So first off, Arizal says that the Shem Avram is really like a nutrican of Aver Mem, and the Mem is a Mem Stuma, so it was Aver Sasum, so therefore he was Eina Yachal Lahailid because he had an Aver Sasum, as I state in Arizal. And so now the question becomes, how is the Hay resolving this? So the Hay we know normally is Din. We know there's a thing called Chamisha Chasadim and Chamisha Gvuras. What's the sherish of Chamisha Chasadim and Chamisha Gvuras? So it's brought down a bunch of different things. Simplest form is that you have 5 fingers on your right hand and 5 fingers on your left hand. That's considered Chamisha Chasadim and Chamisha Etzbais. And Chamisha Gvuras, one's on the right hand, which is Chesed, one's on the left hand, which is Gvura. So the right hand is Chesed, it's Chamisha Chasadim. Avrohom was Chesed, and the Chamisha Gvuras, we're going to go to Sarah. Gvuras we know come from where? Besides from the Chamisha Esbais and Tzad Smile, it also comes from Shem Elikim, which is 5 Oisiyas, and the other thing it comes from is the Manspach, the 5 Oisiyas Manspach. Why are they considered Din? Because Shem Elikim, Bereshis Bara Elikim, that's the Betchila Varas Olam, B'midas Hadin, that's the Bereshis Bara Elikim, number 1. And the Manspach, since every letter in the Manspach has a Gvul, it's the end of the letter, so that's also considered a Din. It's brought on other time also. Now, Avrohom Avinu over here, since the way Rashi brought it, that he didn't have eyes or ears, what is the mashpia for a person to be moiled? The mashpia is coming from the das. What are the sharei hadas? The sharei hadas is coming from the inayim and the oznayim. So since that is the sharei hadas, so I'm speculating, so you could argue with me. It doesn't say any place that he was blind or that he couldn't hear. It would have said so. So the pashtus is that mibchinas noshim, he was taka blind and he couldn't hear. What's the inyan of the hearing? You know that there's a thing called anus mufata. Mufata is a real thing that comes from hearing something. So he didn't have that koyach in the moichin to be moiled. And that's pshat that when he got the 5 Eivarim, was pshat that this inyan of to be moiled, to be with the Isha, to be moiled, that came from these Chamisha Chasadim, so to speak. When he got the Hay, he got Chamisha Chasadim, which was Einayim, Oznayim, and a Britz. So now he had the koyach to be moiled. Another thing that it says in the pasuk is, Lashon HaPasuk is, Vayavar Avram ba'aretz, Haylech v'nosaya hanegba. What's hanegba? Negba is miloshin nigov, which is dry. So he was susam, he was dry. There was no meimei hachesed, there was no zera by Avrohom Avinu. Once he got that koyach of the hay, so was shoylet on him meimei hachesed. So that niguv, that dryness, so to speak, went away. So now he had the koyach haleda. And this is what I'm telling you just now. This is Arizal talking. This is not me. And what was the point of it? Why was it so important that Avrohom Avinu should be able to be moiled? Because it says in the pasuk, the first time you have a yichud of shemais, it says Vayihi b'yoyim asois Hashem Elokim eretz v'shamayim. What's eretz? We know that Isha is karka olam. So eretz, is nekeva. Shamayim is the zachar. Vayihi b'yoyim asois Hashem Elokim eretz v'shamayim. Then what does it say with the word after? Bihi baram. And everyone dashes Bihi baram is Avrohom. So it's showing you that the tachlis of the creation of Shamayim va'aretz is to bring about Avrohom, that he should be able to be moiled, and with that he'll be able to produce Klal Yisrael. And that was the main thing that you see. And by Sarah also, it's really a little bit shver, because Avrohom, this I don't have an answer to, if everybody has an answer, that we know that by Avrohom, he was missing Chamisha Ivar. So in order to make it into Ramach, so he got a hay. See, by Sarah, she was first Sarai. So why was she called Sarai? So she was Midas Hadin. And the Shin is Elokim B'miloi, is 300. The Reish is Achirayim, is 200. And then you have the Yud. And so the Yud was a combination of the Bina and the Malchus. But Sarah's Tachlis was to be Moilid, and since Bina is the place where Dinin Mis'arin Minei, that's where it all starts from, but there's no Gilui in Bina, right? So therefore she needed Dafka the Malchus, because the Malchus, everything is everything in the Les Magar Mebei, everything comes out from the Malchus. So in order for her to be Moilid, she needed a hay, which is a hay of the Malchus, in order for her to be Moilid Yitzchak. And how do you see the din in Yitzchak? You see the din in Yitzchak because it says Yitzchak was completely Midas Hadin, and the Lashon HaPasuk is it says second. Yitzchak usayt hagvurais kenaida l'chein is dama leimoy v'taloi hakosov ba. That it says in the pasuk l'sara bain. It doesn't say l'Avram bain. It says l'sara bain. This pasuk, right? So it's coming to show you that Yitzchak was dafka Midas Hadin, and Sarah was also Midas Hadin, because in the Shin and the Reish you have both Ramazim to Shem Elokim, and therefore, so she was completely the Midas Hadin. The other thing I wanted to point out, also you see that the hay, I'm just going back a little bit, last week's parasha, you see it says the word ha-teva. In the entire parasha, I didn't do a computer check, but from what I saw last week, it didn't say any place the word teva. Every time it said ha-teva, and every time it said ha-teva was chasayut. It was hey, tough, beis, hey. So I was clearing, why does it every time have to say ha-teva? I'm saying it because now I'm dashing on Ois Hay a little bit, is that if you look through the Chadashim, there are 2 months that the hay is, when you do the Tzirufei Shemes of the Shem Havaya, so there are only 2 months where the hay is on the outside, in the beginning and in the end, that's only on the outside. Those 2 months are Chodesh Av, which is a Chodesh of destruction, like you had, the Mabul was destruction of the world, and then the second month is Shvat, which is Rosh Hashanah Li'Lanais. And you had in last week's Pasha, what was the first thing that happened after the Teva? V'hinei alei zayis b'fiyah. Right? So the first thing was showing you that there was a Gedila coming from the Eitzim. So you see that the hay was showing you those 2 months, the Shvat and the Av. The Av was the destruction, and right after that was that the Yaina came back with the Ali Zayas Befiyas showing you Rosh Hashanah Leilonis. And saying over here, so here the hay is Moilid, as you know that in Bina, the first thing that happens from Bina is Dina Misar and Minei, and the Dina Misar and Minei means that's where the din starts, but it's also, since it's the Ima, so that's where the shirish of all later comes from there as well. And the mashal is that Zera Ish is first destroyed, and when there's one left in order to be Moilid, and that comes out through the Malchus, that's Iba, Yanika, and then comes Gadlus. That's the Seder Hadvarim. So I just wanted to say, again, the reason why it had to be Dafka Ois Hay is the Ois of Dina Mesar Minei, it's also the Ois Haleda, and it's also by Sarah, she had to go, in order it had to be a Malchus, even though she had Sarai, but now she had to have a Hay, because that's the Gili of it. So even beforehand she wasn't Akara, and now it was Psichas Arechem. So he was able to be Meilet. I mean, that time why it had to have Dafka, a Hay, for both of them.
Hay was on Zera, they say.